All right, welcome back to ABA exam review and the continuation of our BCBA task list series. Today we're continuing with behavior change procedures and self-management strategies. Self-management strategies is one of those topics that if you look in Cooper, for example, you're going to find pages and pages of empirical research, empirical evidence for its effectiveness. And that is fantastic because it's extremely effective for what we do. Now, for our purposes here, we're going to simplify it into just the most essential pieces of self-management. So what you want to do is start here, get the basics down, and then once you're comfortable with the task list, go into Cooper and try to explore a little more and expand your knowledge. But as always, we're going to keep it as simple as possible. Be sure to check out behavioranalyststudy.com for all of our study materials. Subscribe for all of our updates. When you pass, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. Let's get going. Self-management is the personal use of behavior change strategies to achieve a behavior change. It's very straightforward. It's exactly what it sounds like. You're managing your own behavior. So with self-management, not much changes if you were managing your own behavior compared to somebody else's. And so you, as the analyst, should be very good at your own self-management. And then you're going to want to teach self-management to your clients. Now, there are some distinctions that are important. This idea of self-control versus self-management. And in ABA and for our purposes, we are going with self-management. The reason we do that is because it emphasizes the environment and reduces attribution to things like explanatory fictions and other mentalisms. So self-management is how we're going to refer to this idea of managing your own behaviors. Don't forget, it's systematic and planned. So self-management isn't something that you just do casually throughout the day. With every behavior change, intervention, or plan we write, it has to be systematic. It has to be planned because we are changing human behavior, which can lead to a lot of complications if you're not doing it correctly. So what do we think about when we think about self-management? Well, the first thing we're going to think about are some antecedent strategies. So with self-management, just like with managing another person's behavior, you're going to want to manipulate the things around you to control your behavior before it happens. So manipulating MOs. Maybe you satiate yourself or deprive yourself to make consequences more valuable. Use response prompts. So if you, let's say, live alone in an apartment and you need to remember to move the laundry around or empty the dishwasher, whatever it might be, start using response prompts to prompt your own behavior. Start behavior chains. It's very powerful when you have a chain of behaviors to just begin. That's why it's so important when we're working with clients that we get them to the place where they're just starting a task. It's so much easier to finish something once you just start. And then limit undesired behaviors to certain conditions. So start developing stimulus control around your own behavior where you are doing things that you might find undesirable or others find undesirable only in certain places. Then there's an idea of delay discounting. What it says is the value of delayed rewards decrease as the delay increases. And when we talk about contiguity, we're talking about the closeness of consequences to behaviors. And this is what we mean. The longer you delay rewards, the longer you delay consequences, well, the value and the effectiveness goes down. So just like in managing, let's say, a client's behavior, in your own behavior, you don't want to delay your rewards too much. You want, when you meet your criterion, to get that reward as quickly as possible. So we looked at some of the antecedent strategies. Now let's look at some more broad strategies that are often associated with self-management. First one is self-monitoring, and this one is first because it is essential, an essential part of self-management. It's got a huge section in Cooper, and that's because without observation, without data, we're not doing behavior change. So just like you would with a client or anyone else, you need to monitor your own behavior as it's ongoing. And you have to teach others that you're going to teach self-management to how to monitor their own behavior, how to observe it, how to record it. Now, the idea of self-administered consequences. So small, easy to deliver consequences, meaning we're not delaying it too much. When you meet your contingency or your criterion, you can immediately deliver that consequence to yourself. Self-instruction is also known as self-talk, and it's just verbal prompts guiding your behavior. So if you've ever, let's say, played a sport or done some sort of dance routine or cooking or really anything where you're doing something on your own and you've got to go through steps, you've probably engaged in self-instruction without even realizing it. We all kind of talk to ourselves, if not externally, internally. Self-evaluation. What's the difference between self-evaluation and self-monitoring? With monitoring, we're simply observing and recording. The evaluation piece is when we evaluate our performance, see how we did against a set standard. So you're evaluating your own behavioral outcomes against a previously set standard or criteria. Now, habit reversal. This is when you identify a behavior and stop it ASAP. There's a whole section on habit reversal. What you're essentially doing is you're identifying a habit, or in other words, a behavior chain that you want to put to an end. And so you're trying to identify as early as possible when that behavior chain starts, and so you can stop it as quickly as possible. And then masked practice is when you perform an undesired behavior repeatedly to decrease that behavior. Now, this should sound very similar to another behavior change procedure, which would be negative practice over correction. The only difference here is this is a self-management strategy, where the other one is much more client-based. Finally, what are our steps for effective self-management? Number one, set a goal. And again, you're going to see, just like personnel management, just like client management, all of these things follow this same pattern. Does that mean everything is recipe and cookie cutter? No, it's all individualized, but the ideas are the same. You've got to have a goal. What are you trying to achieve with behavior change? Then 2, you've got to self-monitor. Very important. 3, create contingencies. How can you create contingencies for yourself so you can administer consequences? 4, tell others. Make your behavior goals known. There's a lot more social pressure on it when you tell others, well, I want to do so-and-so. I want to improve my ability to speak Spanish. The more people you tell, it adds to the accountability, which leads us to 5, get an accountability partner. Self-management sounds like a solo endeavor, but you can have outside help. You can have assistance from the outside. That's totally okay. And then, as always, you want to evaluate and assess constantly. If you're on evaluating, if you're on assessing, we're not really doing behavior change or behavior analysis. So that's self-management in a nutshell. Again, Cooper has very extensive research and guidance on self-management. With this series, what are we trying to do? We're trying to get the essentials down. You want to be fluent in the essentials on your task list before diving deeper. Once you are there, go to Cooper and look at some of those more complex ideas. It's going to make you better as an analyst, and it's going to make you better for the exam. Please subscribe if you aren't already for all of our updates. Check out behavioranalyst.com for all of our study materials. When you pass, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. See you soon.